This is huge for vertical production. The Blazar Beetle is the first lens to allow vertiscope shooting with ease. Vertical video is everywhere right now, but anamorphic is typically not paired with vertical shooting, and that's because anamorphic images are typically widescreen, and that requires a lot of cropping to get to a 9:16 vertical frame. Now here's the twist. Vertiscope takes that anamorphic squeeze and rotates it 90 degrees. This allows for that same cinematic anamorphic feel, but in a vertical frame. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to shoot anamorphic for any platform. That includes how to shoot vertiscope, how to desqueeze in camera, and the different processes for post-production. But first, a quick overview of squeeze factor. Squeeze factor is vital in understanding how anamorphic lenses work and for framing your shots. A squeeze factor defines how much extra image is squeezed onto your sensor. For example, a Blazar Beetle 32mm lens with a 1.33x squeeze factor takes that 32mm lens and squeezes in a 24mm width. This gives you an expanded field of view, but still the compression of a tighter focal length. Currently, photo cameras like this A7C II don't have anamorphic desqueeze built in. So to get around this, we've introduced the Blazar App. Within the Blazar app, you can desqueeze your anamorphic photography with ease. Simply click to import your photos, select your anamorphic squeeze, press desqueeze, and then export your photos. They're ready to go. To make this workflow super fast, pair this with a camera that has Wi-Fi transfer or FTP compatibility. This allows you to transfer your photos directly from the camera to your phone, desqueeze in the Blazar app, and then they're ready to go in just a couple clicks. The Blazar Beetle unlocks 4 new aspect ratios for your camera. First, you have horizontal anamorphic and horizontal sensor. This gives you a standard widescreen anamorphic image. Then there's vertical sensor and horizontal anamorphic. This is Vertiscope, giving you that same anamorphic quality, but in a vertical delivery. Horizontal sensor and vertical anamorphic. This gives you a very unique look with vertical lens flares and oval-shaped horizontal bokeh. And finally, we have vertical anamorphic and vertical sensor. This gives you a very tall image with vertical streak flares, and looks very similar to standard anamorphic imagery turned 90 degrees. Each has its own creative use, but for socials content, we're most interested in Vertiscope. The Blazar Beetle will be the most compact and easiest to use solution for Vertiscope shooting. That's because you can simply click a button and rotate the lens for Vertiscope, and switch back without ever removing it from your camera body. The Blazar Beetle is available for Sony E, Canon RF, Leica L, and Nikon Z mount. The Beetle is not the only way to shoot Vertiscope, however. You can also shoot Vertiscope by using any PL mount Blazar anamorphic lens. All PL mount anamorphic lenses from Blazar have cutouts at all 4 corners of the mount. This allows you to rotate the lens when mounting and shoot Vertiscope on all PL mount cinema cameras or all PL mount adapters going to mirrorless systems. This also unlocks Vertiscope for mediums like medium format, such as the GFX mount. When shooting Vertiscope, your final aspect ratio is defined by your sensor's aspect ratio in combination with your squeeze factor. Different combinations will provide a different look. So let's test it out and see how they compare. So here we are shooting Vertiscope on the Blazar Beetle 32mm. This is 16:9 with a 1.33x squeeze. And here we are still shooting Vertiscope on the Mantis 25, this time in 4K DCI, 17:9. And here we are again in Vertiscope on the Remus 33, except this time in 17:9 DCI. And here we are again shooting Vertiscope on the Blazar Kato 2X anamorphic, except this time in 17:9 DCI mode. And here we are shooting Vertiscope with the Blazar Beetle 32mm, now in OpenGate with the FX3 in stills mode. And here we are in Vertiscope on the Blazar Mantis 25mm with a 1.33x squeeze. This is now on OpenGate on a Blackmagic full-frame camera. And here we are shooting Vertiscope now with the Remus 33mm. This is a 1.5x squeeze shooting full-frame OpenGate. You may think we just turned the camera sideways, but this is still Vertiscope. Shooting with the Blazar Kato 2X anamorphic lenses paired with a full-frame OpenGate camera, you get this horizontal, very square aspect ratio. Check out our brand new Blazar Anamorphic calculator. Easily explore how your anamorphic and Vertiscope footage translates across various delivery formats. This supports custom resolution and custom aspect ratio, and provides a visual preview of your final crop. Simply enter your camera's aspect ratio or resolution, then select your anamorphic lens squeeze factor, and you will see the dimensions of your final desqueezed image. Then select your desired delivery aspect ratio and see exactly how much cropping is required along with a helpful visualizer. This tool is especially useful if you plan to shoot Vertiscope or deliver for multiple aspect ratios. That's because you can very clearly see how each delivery format fits within your anamorphic image. It's very important to understand how to desqueeze your footage when shooting with anamorphic lenses. If your camera doesn't have desqueeze built in, then don't worry. There's still plenty of accessories and options out there for getting desqueeze on your camera. One of the cheapest and easiest is using a mobile phone monitor, such as the Sony Monitor and Control app, or a separate wireless system such as the DJI wireless system. Once you have that going, you can do desqueeze all in your mobile phone monitor, and that removes the necessity for the desqueeze feature in camera. And finally, the best resource for desqueezing imagery is always going to be an external monitor. That's because it allows you to do custom desqueeze ratios for vertical anamorphic shooting. This is necessary for shooting Vertiscope or vertical anamorphic because you need your desqueeze ratio to be non-standard. Unfortunately, no cameras currently support custom desqueeze options internally, so you will have to use an external monitor if you want to preview Vertiscope footage. To calculate your Vertiscope squeeze factor, simply take 1 divided by the standard squeeze factor, and that gives you your Vertiscope desqueeze. In this example with the Blazar Beetle, we take the 1.33x squeeze factor, and that turns into a 0.75x squeeze. So that is what you'll put into your external monitor. If you'd like to shoot Vertiscope with a monitor that doesn't have custom desqueeze ratios, or if you're in a live production setting and need to send a live feed out with desqueeze, then you'll want to look into a device called a VPU. It's a small box that you can put on your camera, and it processes the video on a hardware level. In this case, you take your video feed in, desqueeze and rotate, and then send it out. VPUs with anamorphic desqueeze is still a very new technology, and there's currently only HDMI offerings available. And now post-production. In post, there's plenty of options for editing anamorphic images, some with more difficulty than others. The Blazar app will be the easiest to use solution for anamorphic photography. However, many of the world's most popular editors also have capability for desqueeze. For DaVinci Resolve, it's very easy. Simply change your pixel aspect ratio or scale horizontally. Same goes for Premiere Pro. As for photography editing, there's quite a few options for anamorphic desqueeze. The most popular is probably using Photoshop. In Photoshop, you can load your images one by one, desqueeze, and then export. This can be a problem for some photographers that want to do batch editing, so that's where Lightroom comes in. Unfortunately, Lightroom does not currently support anamorphic desqueeze, but you can transition your photos into Photoshop to do your desqueeze and then export them back. If you would prefer to keep using Lightroom and not deal with Photoshop, there is a workaround to get desqueeze in Lightroom. However, it's quite complicated. It uses the method from EXIF tool and uses the metadata to change the squeeze factor of each image. And finally, Capture One. Capture One is currently the best option for anamorphic photography editing, and that's because it supports anamorphic desqueeze, raw color information, and batch editing all in the same program. That means you can preview, desqueeze, color grade, and export your photos all in the same software. So why go through all this? Why shoot Vertiscope in the first place? Well, it's because it gives you a certain cinematic feel that you can't reproduce any other way. When shooting Vertiscope, you see strong oval-shaped bokeh, cinematic lens flares, and an expanded field of view that gives you a large format feel. This is not something you can recreate with spherical lenses, and it's now just opening up to the vertical medium. The Blazar Beetle is the first anamorphic lens designed to bridge the gap between social media and high-end Hollywood production. For professionals, having a full-frame anamorphic lens that's less than 300 grams is a huge benefit. If you want to learn more or pick up a Blazar Beetle for yourself, check out the website in the link in the description. Thanks for watching and happy shooting.